recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Administrator Jackson, I think it was Friday, Thursday or Friday, I received a Google alert that surprised me a little bit. On the hit for the Hill, it quoted you as saying that apparently you were on the Daily Show. And on the Daily Show, you responded to a largely GOP claims that the EPA is overzealously pursuing regulations. And your response was as follows: "It is definitely an inside the Beltway line of reasoning." She said Washington is a place where industry interests peddle a narrative that transforms the Beltway into a fact-free zone. And then you said, outside Washington, and this is what made me laugh a little bit. Maybe you were just joking because you're on the Daily Show. 95% of the American people say they want government. They see one of the roles of government is protecting the air and their water, she said in the interview. So do you really believe that the problems with the EPA are an inside the Beltway line of reasoning, or were you just cracking a joke because you were on a Daily Show?
Well, you should watch it rather than read about it. But, you know, yes, I believe that 95% of the American people, as I stated during that show, believe that it is a role of government to protect them, to keep their air and water clean, to protect their health.
But do you also believe that it's only inside the Beltway where people are concerned about the EPA?
No, I believe people have concerns, and I believe it's my job and EPA's job to try to address those people where they are. But I also believe that progress is made when we get outside of Washington, as I did when I visited your fine state and spoke to people directly about what is really happening. No, we're not regulating cow flatulence. No, we're not regulating milk, versus the myths that are spun up by professional special interests inside this Beltway to scare people.
Okay, the irony of that moment for me is that I went into a meeting right after I received the Google alert. And the first thing that the gentleman, who was a businessman, not a politician, he's not a career politician, he's not a regulator, he's just a regular businessman. The first thing he said is, "Can we get rid of the EPA? I'm sick and tired of the EPA destroying jobs in America and destroying this country." So how is it that you can say on a show that it's an inside the Beltway mentality where it doesn't matter who I talk to in Idaho, whether it's Republican, Democrat, Independent, they have a problem with the overzealous regulation of the EPA?
First, let me correct an error in the record. I thought you said Iowa. If you're from Idaho, I haven't visited your.
That's what I thought.
So I'm very sorry for that.
That's okay.
That's a mistake. And for the gentleman, your constituent,
You should visit, not just read about it.
I'm happy to go. I have actually been, but I haven't been recently, so that would have been an inaccurate statement in the record.
That's okay. That's okay.
I'm happy to visit. You know, I'm happy to speak to this gentleman, happy to speak to constituents. What I would say is I'd like to understand the reasoning behind that, because there are constituents in your state who we serve and protect air quality or water quality, clean up Superfund sites. We're quite busy on a range of issues. And so although I do not doubt that people have concerns about our agency, and as I also said on that same show, we can certainly do our jobs better and more effectively. We look for opportunities to do so. The poll shows that 95% of the American people think that the reason the EPA is there, which is to protect their health, is a function of government that should happen, that no one can.
And I think I would agree. I would agree with you that it's a function of government that should happen. But the problem is the overzealous regulation and the overzealous interpretation of regulation, and that's killing our jobs, it's killing our industries, it's killing our economy. And I think I would invite you to come to Idaho, and I would invite you to talk to the businessmen, to the mayors, the Republicans, Democrats, Independents. The first thing I talk to every mayor about in Idaho, it doesn't matter what party they belong to or whether they're nonpartisan, is about the EPA and about how much money it's going to cost them, the issues with phosphorus, the issues with the water. We have cities in Idaho that are concerned that over the next 10 years it's going to cost them over $1 billion to remediate some of the things that is only going to improve the water by 1% or 0.5%. So these are concerns that we really have that are going to cost jobs, that are going to cost the economy. And I think that you need to be maybe more concerned about what's happening outside of the Beltway, because it seems to me that inside the Beltway, all of your friends are telling you that nobody's concerned about the EPA. Now, Deputy Secretary Hayes, just a quick question. You keep mentioning that we have actually increased production of oil. what is the reality about what happened after Macondo in the outer continental shelf? Has production of oil increased or decreased in that area?
In the Gulf, it is remained about steady at about 50 million barrels per month. In November of 2008, the production, I believe, was 48 million barrels per month. The last year we have monthly records is December of last year. It was 49 million barrels per month. It is anticipated, as was discussed